Okay, hello and
Good.
welcome to Community Office Hours, the aptly named session where 5, maybe 6 experienced developers talk all things community teams. How's everyone today?
All good.
All good. Yeah, good.
Wonderful. I am just promoting Bushra to a panelist. Bushra's come through the back door and here we have her. So a big hello to Ronald. How are you today?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm fine.
Good. And you're going to be talking to us about the package team today?
Yes, I am.
Lovely. And we're welcoming. Oh, no, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight I just started as a steward of the package team, so I'll do my best to have some answers as well.
We'll try not to ask you anything too taxing, being your first public engagement as the team steward. Welcome to the gang of team stewards. And Mike Macy, it's very nice to see you. How are you today?
Hello, I'm very good, thank you. Very, very good.
And you're going to be talking to us today about accessibility team.
Exactly, yeah. Give a little update. I'm going on there. Yeah.
Wonderful. Looking forward to it. Bianca, I see you all the time, but hello.
Hello.
You're going to be chatting to us about the Unicore team today.
Yes, I will.
Wonderful. And Seb?
Hello.
I can't think. What is it that you do again?
I don't know. Something public relations.
Yeah, welcome to my colleague Seb, who's going to be talking to us about Core Collaborators. And Bushra, hello.
Hello.
Documentation curators is your jam, and you're going to be talking to us today about the team.
Yes.
Lovely. Cool. So shall we get started then with Ronald? Since you're the newest, we'll let you forge the way. How are things going with the package team?
Yeah. Like I said, I just started 3 weeks ago. We had a good start. We initially had a brainstorm or internal discussion at HQ to set up some short-term goals and long-term goals regarding the package ecosystem around Umbraco. And had a good introduction to the team, to all the lovely members, and I think we started on a roll and already did some work during Umbra Collab on Thursday on Discord to make contributions to our Umbraco code base easier, because we want to make sure it still gets some attention, and even though it's one of the older projects, it still does brings a lot of community effort into one hub. And there are still a lot of improvements we can make on the code base, and making it easier for people to make those changes will hopefully help getting those contributions as well.
It's the name of the game, really. Ease of access.
It's fun to learn that our Umbraco code base is now probably about 10 years old and started on Umbraco v4 at some point. And we've dragged it along all the way up to v7 right now, and it will be too big of a project to move it to v9 at the moment. So we'll have to wait until v12 or something.
I like the sound of that. I think that there's it speaks to its elegance when it was v4 for it to have come all the way. 10 years is a long time in tech years. And I was saying during the Umbraco Lab session last week, that I used to use the code base to refer to see how things should be done. But maybe I wouldn't do that now. No.
Yeah.
Bianca, you have a very successful team, the Unicore team. And what's going on with you lot?
Yep, with the Unicore team was kind of a special team because it was more a project team compared to the other teams, which are more continuously smaller projects. So we decided now that 9 is out, we will retire the team. But we are still looking into ways to engage the community. One of the biggest benefits of the team during the entire period was most as a sounding board to help me discover which part of the
Sorry, Linda barking.
To help me discover what parts of Umbraco we could easily make breaking changes in without it will interfere with a lot of packages or customer projects, and other parts where we should be very careful. And these parts are super valuable. So we will try to figure out a format where we can engage even more community members, but more on not a regular schedule, maybe once per half year, once per major or something like that. But yeah, it was a super successful team, both code-wise. We had contributions from all of the team, but also, as I said, sounding board, and yeah, just as representatives, what it's called. They represent V9 very good on social media and so on. Yeah.
It's fantastic, actually. I feel almost like Unicore Team is a bit of a cheat because they had a beginning and an end. But you can't say the same for documentation. But what a successful team. And it's fantastic that you're going to have the opportunity to see how it can grow into the future. I hope you sent them lots of lovely gifts once the launch happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, a kitten for everyone, right? It's the animal special.
Good to mention as well that we'll not just rely on the few people on the team, but also on RFCs in the future as well. So everybody can give us that same feedback that we need as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So before we're interrupted again by my dog, the documentation creators' work is never finished. Bushra, how are things with the team?
Well, it's going well right now, and we had a quite busy period with 9 launching and also Oktoberfest as well, and things are kind of quiet right now in terms of community members contributing the documentation repository, but it's always there. And now we are with Core Team and also with SWAT and everyone within the HQ are now trying to determine platform changes. And yeah, there's nothing in set place right now, but we'll see what's going to happen in the near future.
Yeah. So an exciting time, actually. There's so much that we've been building up to for so very long, and now we've kind of crested that hill and we're looking out at the view. It's like,
yeah.
So
Exactly. Yeah.
Mike, the accessibility team.
Yeah, so it's been, well, for me personally, I've been a little bit quiet recently just with being busy, but I know that some of the team, they've been cracking on with more PIs and sort of improvements and some language fallback stuff. Also, there's more. Sorry, my dog is still throwing around a phone. I don't actually know if I'm connected.
You are just, but there's a few technical difficulties. You're stuttering?
No.
No, let's come back to Nick and we'll chat to Seb, who is always ready to talk, and you can fix your dog / Wi-Fi connection. Go on.
I have no idea if I'm still.
Seb, Core Collaborators.
Yeah, same as the Docs team. Of course, we've been super busy with mostly Oktoberfest the past few weeks. October is traditionally a busy month for us, where lots of new pull requests come in, and we very much encourage that, of course. I think we had, for the whole of Oktoberfest this year, we had exactly 261 pull requests coming in, and that was for all the things, not just for Umbraco CMS. And I think my Core Collaborators team has been doing a good job in getting a lot of the contributions merged quite early on. So 9.1 release a few weeks ago was literally chock full of Oktoberfest contributions. More coming, and I think we closed about 60% of them for this year already, where the last few years we've been a bit slower than that. So if we keep it up, then maybe by the end of the year we'll have most of them merged and or closed.
And we have started only counting really valuable contributions, right? So
yes.
I mean, it's a difficult word to define, and we'll probably loop back to this, but that 261, we're only looking at really good, solid contributions, aren't we? Not
yeah. So the last few years we've been getting a lot more contributions, but they were all well, not all, but a lot of them were rather spammy and just people trying to get their swag from both DigitalOcean and from us. And we've been very happy that DigitalOcean changed the rules this year, so we have to actually opt in, and that actually led us to actually, for as far as I've seen, I've only seen contributions from people already in our community, but still a lot of new people that have not contributed before. So I think of the 60 plus people who have contributed this year, about 17 of them were brand new to contributing to Umbraco in any way. So that's exactly what we've been doing it for all these years, is like introducing these people to how to contribute to Umbraco and how cool it is and how they can then continue doing that.
No, it's fantastic. And it's really nice to see, actually, because I think that the nature of pull requests has changed a little over the years, in that we do have a really solid, stable code base, if we do say so ourselves. So there's less low-hanging fruit. And it's really, really marvelous when people get involved and there's always dialogue around a pull request like that too. So we're not just kind of seeing people enter the ecosystem and then leave. They are really investing their time into it. So that's great. So I wanted to come back to Mike, who's moving. His whole video is moving, which means that he can probably speak now.
I can hear you now.
Yeah,
yes.
fantastic. So
No idea
Mike,
what happened.
we really didn't catch very much. So if you want to pretend that we never spoke,
sure.
not ever, but not
hopefully my internet will decide that it doesn't want to just fall over as soon as I start talking. So yeah, no, the accessibility team is still going on strong. Personally, I've been a little bit more quiet recently, just with being busy. But I know that some of the team are still cracking on with some good PRs, improvements of focus locks, language fallbacks for people. What's been really encouraging to see as well is the recent release of the new Umbraco UI system, and seeing that sort of embedded commitment to accessibility built in from the get-go. It's really exciting to see, and it's actually, I'm really looking forward to sort of getting my hands dirty with that and playing around with it and sort of going through the accessibility style audits and treatment that we've done so far with the existing back office, and sort of moving that into this new system. So before it's even launched fully, it's, you know, we're already meeting the accessibility standards we want, both from the general web content accessibility guidelines, and there's a new newish guideline, which is specifically around content editors, content management systems, ATAG, I think off the top of my head. So we want to have a look at sort of introducing some of that as well. And yeah, the general, since starting the community team, seeing Umbraco's sort of the HQ's commitment and support behind the improvements has been really, really nice to see. Like, even in next week, there's for those who aren't aware, a little shameless plug, there's the tech, he says he can't remember the name of it, the Tech Accessibility Summit is happening next week, which Umbraco is also supporting as well. So it's absolutely fantastic to see it. So yeah, so proud to be part of it.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's been a really symbiotic relationship, I think.
Yeah.
You know, there's been willing internally, willing externally, and lots of talking back and forth, and lots of kind of strategy that's come from outside in and inside out, and it's just this wonderful marriage of mine.
Yeah,
so.
I find it super wonderful, not just to have better accessibility, but also people always keep thinking that it only benefits blind people, but it benefits everybody. I mean, I can do almost everything with my keyboard in the back office of Umbraco right now. Whereas I used to be extremely frustrated and like going, oh, this is supposed to work like this, but it really doesn't. So never mind, I'll grab my mouse again. Hurt my wrists.
Yeah. And we all know that
I'm
developers
not
don't
supposed
use
to
a
be that
mouse,
guy.
right? We don't like to use a mouse for anything. So it's
I'd rather not. It's faster not to.
I wanted to talk to Bushra about being a team steward from the community. And could you tell us a little bit about what that's like?
Well, it all started when Sophie had to go maternity leave last year. Well, it's still this year, officially in the beginning of June. But I started taking over more responsibilities at the end of April, May-ish. And yeah, it was first, everything was all over the place for me because I didn't know what to do. But Sophie had a great plan in terms of dividing the responsibility between me and Jonathan. And so what I am doing right now and what I've been doing is setting up the community meetings. We have a meeting every week. One is actual meeting, one is document, what we call is docs shop, kind of workshop. Because we had some projects going on and we still have some stuff to do around. We still try to create a cheat sheet for version 9. And what we do is we do have sample repo that we try all the code in that repo and then use those namespaces and code examples to documentation and verify everything together as well. And we also had the templates for writing a structural template for writing an article or a tutorial as well. That's still, well, it is almost ready, but I am being kind of lazy. It's been a bit like busy.
I don't think lazy is the word you're looking for. Busy might be the word.
Yeah, and it is up to me now to pass it to someone from HQ that should check, and then now we can just edit that to how to contribute stuff as well. And other than that, it's been juggling around HQ members and team members, community team members. And yeah, it's going well. It's kind of fun, actually. I didn't know that I had some managerial skills that I discovered too. Yeah, it's been fun.
Certainly my experience on the community team is you learn you have skills that you didn't know you had.
Yeah.
Diplomacy was a big one on the Core Collaborators, actually.
Yeah.
So thanks so much, Bushra. It's really nice to hear that you feel sort of supported, even as a community team steward.
Yes,
and Mike spoke about being supported too. It's really interesting because yours is the oldest team, Bushra. The documentation curators happened first. And Mike's team, the accessibility team, represented here today by Mike, is the grassroots team, as I like to call them, the one that just grew from the community.
Sure.
So the second oldest team then is Seb's. You are the second oldest team steward by that measure. How has the work of the Core Collaborators changed over the last couple of, 3 years, 4 years?
Yeah, three and a half, I guess. Maybe more. I can't remember.
Maybe.
Actually, it hasn't changed that much. We have introduced a lot more automation in the team, just to get some stuff done on GitHub that would otherwise require us to go in manually and go, hey, for example, old PRs, so we go, or old issues, we go, hey, this is a bit old, this is still relevant. We've got some bots for that. Recently, we've started closing. After doing a long workshop at HQ, we started closing all the pull requests for V8 that were not going to make it into V8 anymore. So either we finally decided, okay, well, this one is not going to be merged at all, or we encourage people to try again for V9. So a lot of those were really old and didn't get done for some reason or another. So those things are nicely automated now. Oktoberfest has had a huge impact as well, where we're all like all hands on deck. Okay, everybody, it's incoming now. October 1st. We've been encouraging that. We've recently started the Umbra Collab sessions, you and me, Emma, on the Discord server, where we started this for Oktoberfest this year, where we do an hour of hacking with someone from the community. And we've continued doing that afterwards, actually. So we're planning to keep doing that every Thursday at lunchtime. So yeah,
we have fun, don't we? We have fun.
So much fun. It's
been loads
really
of fun. Yeah.
It's been really interesting to see how other people work, which is kind of like, it's scary to share your screen and show how you're working. So I'm always very impressed that people are willing to help us and share the screens and show what they're doing. So yeah. The Umbraco Labs team is involved in that Discord thing every week as well now. But mostly it's an ongoing task where we just keep looking at incoming pull requests. We figure out the rules for what will make it, what won't make it, what are the code standards that we want, and that's ongoing. That's always changing, of course.
Yeah. It's an ongoing. I think I was thinking about the teams that we have that could have a finish, because I'm going to speak to Bianca next, and I was thinking about perhaps the accessibility team could one day be finished. Like, is this perhaps the end goal? But with the core collaborators, there's definitely no way you want that to end. Like, you want it to end because, I don't know. And I want to chat about automation before I speak to Bianca. Automation's difficult when you're dealing with people. How do you make sure that you keep it friendly?
Oh, this is a softball question for yourself, Emma. You came up with the brilliant idea of having a few differently worded replies that were friendly and didn't. It clearly came from a bot, but maybe mix them up a little bit so that it didn't sound too automated and too unfriendly. So yes. We try to make sure that we have a nice message saying, also not just like closing stuff, but also saying what can happen next, what can you do if you still think this has value, those kinds of things. So we try to make it as proactive as possible instead of just going, okay, we're done.
And choosing the right jobs for the bot to do is quite difficult, I think. So the wording is one thing, but then the jobs for the bots, I think when you decided that the bots would deliver information, unchangeable information rather than, encourage discussion, I think that's a really nice balance. But who knows, perhaps the community will tell us otherwise. But it's a mark of our popularity as a project that we need some automation.
Yeah, we held off for a very long time because we were like, well, no, we're humans, we're the friendly CMS, we need to be friendly, we need to be human and talk to each other. But at some point the volume is just too large to not rely on some automation there.
Thanks, Seb. So Bianca, I wanted to talk to you about your special team who have graduated, and I wondered about getting started. I guess you knew it would be a finite scope that you would end at some point. When it came to team selection, how did you choose the people? Did you already have people in mind? And did you know it would end, or when it would end is the question. Did you know it was going to take X amount of time?
We had a good idea about the scope, and it was more or less on time. We ended it. We applied for applications, and then we tried to combine a team with a lot of different skills, some soft skills, some business skills, some hardcore technical skills, front-end skills, back-end skills, everything was valuable. So instead of just having basically 5 clones of the same skills, we tried to have as many different as possible.
And you like working with not clones. Like it's nice to have that mix because it can cause conflict as well, right?
Otherwise, you don't have discussions, right?
Yeah, and you don't have innovation. If no one disagrees, no one innovates. Yeah, I suppose that's right.
But
Did you find?
Yeah,
no, go on.
I think it was super valuable also to have business perspective into mix, because it is hard to sell a technical update from a business point of view. Luckily, we have a lot of performance improvements, but otherwise, you really don't have anything other than it's hire people because it's new tech.
Yeah, it's harder to make a business case, but it's that long-term investment, isn't it? If it's on the latest stack, then we can build on this. You won't be retiring your CMS anytime soon. It's always, but it's a difficult sell. I wondered how much of what the kind of distribution of decision making was like between internal dev teams and the Unicore team. So when we were looking at things like architecture and the decisions that needed to be made, how did the community team feed into that process?
So the architecture was kind of given based on the RFCs we created before the team was established. And we needed a half a year to get ready for a community team, because otherwise we couldn't paralyze. But when we started the team, we had discovered a lot of bigger tasks that could be worked on in parallel.
So it kind of grew from there. So if you had the work all set, or not the work, but the plan put together, it sounds like you had a decent plan, Bjarke, which is great. And then the team were able to work on it. Did you find that it encouraged others from the community also to contribute to the project, because they could see community members working on the Unicore project? Were there a few honorary team members, people out in the community that kind of came along for the ride?
Yeah, sure. There was some of the well-known helped a lot also. And I think that was again made easy because we were able to create some tasks without a tight deadline. So if a task has a tight deadline, it's not a perfect fit for community contributions. But on the other hand, if you know 1 year ahead, we will need this, but you have a year to do it. No pressure is put on people. And I think that was the interesting part.
Yeah. Oh, I really like that, and I love that it took me so long to read the list of names at the launch, because it just shows, really what a community project it could be. And I think that given the size of the task and the scope of the task and how important it was that we got it right, the very fact that we had so many people involved shows what a well-managed project it was. So kudos, Bjarke. If I haven't already told you, I continue to be impressed by your work. So Ronald, you spoke about ease of access, making sure that package developers have a good time of things. Packages are incredibly important to our ecosystem, incredibly important. Hasn't always been very easy to be a package developer for Umbraco. I'm sure it's had its sticking points. What have the package team done to ensure that things going forward are a lot easier for package developers?
I think the first big thing in version 9 is probably also a part of the Unicore team, is the package format that's now used. So it's native NuGet package instead of a custom build for Umbraco itself. And that was partly the RFC that was started by the package team to see what features we want to have in a package distribution format. And out of necessity, because of the framework that's used in V9, we basically made the decision to use NuGet, and a lot of the input that was given on the RFC was also used to make sure we ended up with a a working solution in the end for version 9 at launch. And yeah, there are probably still a lot of things we can improve on that. The package migrations was basically the start, and also for the end users, we can make it easier to discover new packages and install those packages into your own project as well. So there are quite a few things we can still do as a team, and yeah, as a community. And yeah, like I said before, making it easier to contribute is the first step, I guess.
Key. Yeah, absolutely. And finding out how we make it easier for people to contribute is a huge part of that.
Yeah.
So the RFCs are fantastic. It's interesting. I've never actually commented on a single RFC personally. I've read many of them, but I always think, oh no, they don't want to hear from me. But then I make myself known by speaking in meetings and speaking at events. So that's another way that you can have your voice heard. And it is incredibly important, isn't it, that people comment, that they add their voice.
Yeah, and both from package authors and also just end users or developers to make sure we're not only optimizing for an easy way to create packages, but also to consume them in your own solutions, and making sure there's a trade-off between how friendly it is and how much maybe spam you can get, and then other things you want to avoid as well.
Quite
but yeah,
funny that you say that, Emma. I know I know a few other people who've never commented on an RFC before, but we do actually talk to these people, on the side, and not just listen to what's happening or read what's happening on the RFC. So we always go out and talk to people anyway. So some of the input you might not have seen on there yet.
Well, Emma, you made this hackathons weekly and made people contribute on RCs as well. Maybe you didn't actually write it, but you made people
push people to do it.
Yeah,
perfect.
I just enable the others. Thank you,
Exactly.
for saying so. And I think it's it can just be a little intimidating to put something out there in writing, and I work in open source, so I do that all day long, when I'm on the repos. But when it comes to the RSCs and these bigger choices, I'd rather go and talk to someone. And that's the brilliant thing about this community.
Yeah.
You can always talk to someone, people should be available. And we recently started the Discord channel, and that's been a really nice place for community engagement, isn't it? Just to have people talking. So I would like to ask each of you 2 more questions, and I'm wondering if I've got time. I think we've got time. And I'm just going to warn you that, Mike, you're going to go first. And I'm going to ask, what's the best thing that what's your team's favorite achievement? Like, what are you most proud of at the minute? It can be current, it can be this year, it can be, historically. And then I'm going to ask you what you want. Like, what is it you want, people? What is it you want? So going forward, so let's look back and let's look forward. And since I've rambled a bit, I've been buying you time, Mike. Do you feel like I've bought you enough time to answer?
No, I think I'm good.
You're such a pro. Go ahead.
So, I mean, the whole community team came out of a few discussions online. It was actually a suggestion through one Matthew Brailsford, to put together and reach out to the community via the forums to put together a team. And it started out with this one rather huge thread of people saying, yes, why isn't this being done yet? This obviously needs to have some attention. And it grew from there. And if there's any major achievement or thing I'm personally most proud of, is the fact that I'm here right now talking about it, and it's so involved. It's the general awareness that I think is the biggest thing. The fact that it's improved tenfold in the back office for V8, and then it's being thought out already for the next version to a point where it's being built in directly for testing is amazing. But it wouldn't be anything without the awareness around it and people's commitment and passion for actually doing something about it. And that's, to me, is the biggest thing, and how well it's been received.
Absolutely.
And what next?
Oh, now I'm going to pause you there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to pause you there because I was going to ask you how much better are we? Like, and you said tenfold, which I love. But you know, have things improved? Because the awareness, that was your team, you know, very much your team, and I love that you all saw the issue. You've got some absolute legends on your team, and a very different range of technical backgrounds too. And one of the things that you've been able to do is show us what the problem is, you know, not just say we'd like to fix A, B, and C. You know, you've given reports, you've kind of done, like, taken a step back and done a holistic approach, and then you've got team members really close up, just like cracking on through the work. So raising awareness, doing the work, signaling the problem. But yeah, are we better?
Yeah, I mean, so obviously it's never to get it to 100% fulfillment, and there's for anyone watching who isn't aware, there are different levels to the web content accessibility guidelines, A, AA, and AAA. And our goal is AA. That's sort of a good standard to go for. And I'll be honest, I can't remember the latest sort of audit for it, but the fact that Seb, you said you've been able to keyboard through the entirety of the site. When we first started, there were, I think it was 151 first level issues, and a lot of those were level A, very, very simple to fix things. And often what happens is once you solve some of those initial underlying issues, you get access to additional parts of the back office, which then creates more issues. But over the last, I think it was 2019 we started, so over the last 2 years or so, I think it has been, and Seb, you could probably give me an accurate number of this, but probably over 150 plus pull requests related to accessibility.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, 10x maybe tenfold might be a random number, but I feel like it's a little bit hard to quantify, right? Because you can find one issue that's actually replicated across the entirety of the back office, but when that's solved, it makes the entirety of the back office better. And
the future as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting one, but I feel like I've lost track of the original question.
No, I'm really happy with that. And actually, that's exactly what I wanted to know. The accessibility team have really helped, working in collaboration with HQ, to make it a first-class citizen. And
I can post on Mike's behalf a little bit. I think the biggest success is coming from the fact that you've been able to and been really good at breaking down this enormous topic into tiny little pieces that we could gradually add to the back office of Umbraco. And that's really the key to the success here. It's like, okay, well, it's not something huge that you need to do for months. It is something huge that you need to do for months, but you can do it in little pieces.
Yeah, it's not what we said this right at the beginning. It's not something we want to get solved straight away. Like, we know this is going to be years to do, if not never ending. But there was never any rush. It was just, we'll do what we can as we can, and it just built up momentum. And it's humanizing us, I think. Often accessibility can be met with a bit of, oh, that's quite difficult, that's, you know, we don't have the time. It can be a bit of a second-class citizen, when if you break it down a bit and just build up that understanding and that sort of, you know, empathy around why, it can really bring in the reasons and sort of the dedication to actually do something about it.
And it really made life easier for our want to be contributors. That's it. People that, you know, had done searching for bugs now had accessibility tickets to work on, the Trello board, everything was right there for people to pick up. So it gave our contributors something to work with. So
just had a little look, 195 closed accessibility.
Woo! Yeah.
That's all right, isn't it?
We need to find out how many accessibility related ones there were before, but that was before we had a label. But I think 10 times is probably a conservative estimate. Maybe not. And I'm coming back to you in a moment, Mike, for what is it you want? What is it you want? And I'm going to speak to Seb and say, Seb, biggest achievement, please.
Oh shit, I didn't think about it. I had 5 minutes.
Yeah, I know, right?
I think just getting this team together and actually getting them to work on this stuff, that's helping me. I think the biggest achievement, it was just a simple configuration flag, really. That was the moment where we allowed our team members, the community team members, to actually hit the merge button. That was super scary for us internally, where we're like, okay, do we just like let random people who we like, but do we trust them? Do we just let them hit the buttons? And we found a really good compromise there, where we merge. They're allowed to merge, and I still check it before it goes in. But the biggest thing there is that in all that time that it's been possible, it's been 2 years now, I've reverted one pull request because something went wrong there that was not supposed to be going in there, and the rest has been absolutely amazing. So I am super happy about that. That's made my life a lot easier. It's made everybody's life, Bjarke's life, a lot more complicated because the merging up from V8 to V9.
Yeah, that was. Yeah.
That was bound to happen anyway. So.
And it's such a commitment as well to communities in action when you're saying, we're not just going to ask you to cast an eye over, and GitHub's fantastic with the way that it's set up in, so that people can approve, and the pull request flow is really nice. But then for you to do the work to ensure that people can safely merge without you, it's just fantastic. Quick question before I move to Bjarke, but was it my pull request that you had to revert that broke things?
I can't remember.
Was it mine?
But
No, diplomatic answer. You see, you need to be diplomatic when you do such stuff. So Bjarke, is your biggest achievement launching? Launching? No.
I mean.
No, I actually think the biggest achievement was achieved during the initial meeting with the team at HQ, because we got a lot of known unknowns eliminated. So we were way more confident on the timeline after that weekend. So stuff like Nucash are using an algorithm for B+ trees, which was not available for Net Standard. There were some community packages out there. We needed to check this because it was an inactive project, which is actually okay if it's basic data structures. They can be done. We needed to know this was possible to do in NetCore also. So during that week or a couple of days, we just eliminated a lot of potentially big issues, which was super nice from the project point of view.
Yeah, wonderful. So I'll come back to you for what is it you want, and I'm going to move on to Bushra and then to Ronald. So Bushra, Ronald, you're going to have to work hard to think of your biggest achievement because you've been there 2 weeks, but we can make it short. But Bushra, what's yours?
Well, I am going to talk about the team actually, because for the past, because I've been in the team for a little over than a year and a half. For the team, and I've been getting this a lot recently as well. So when Umbraco first came to the world, there was no documentation apparently, and the reason the documentation creators born was because developers and people who are using Umbraco needed how to use it, and they need a guide. And I think I am easily saying, and hopefully it's not really, it should be a common thing for the community team as well, for us, that documentation has been made alive should be the biggest achievement. But then again, recently we had a chat with Jim. So before we were keep using the same platform for documentation on top of the actual version 7 and 8 and 9, and then 10 is going to come. And now HQ is also really aware and put a high priority for documentation platform as well, and that is our another achievement. So I think it's safe for me to say documentation creators community team made HQ and the community, or everyone, realized that the documentation is really, really important, and it goes well with accessibility as well. It is something, a part of accessibility too, because if you can read code, but it's not just for developers. Umbraco is not just for developers. It has so many different aspects. There's so many different job roles can use Umbraco. So it is really important for other job titles to know what they are doing or how they're going to do what they want to do as well. So yeah, it's been prioritized from HQ too, and that is also a big achievement for us.
That's wonderful, Bushra.
Yeah.
I know that one of the things that your team has been really, really good at is making that contribution experience really fun, really simple, really engaging.
Yes.
Like, I'm talking with people on your team on the repository is always a rewarding experience. Like the amount of help I've had, because it's an interesting setup with the documentation curators, because of course you don't write the documentation, you support others. So your team's about empowering others to do the work.
Yeah, exactly. Even though we are writing a lot less now, but yeah, it's more for us to, like, when someone contributes either a tutorial or an article in the documentation, we just go and say, this looks good, but what about this one? Can you change this for readability? Or let's check this code, how to do it. And then, we merge it. And I do have that access to push that button as well, which is really cool.
Yeah. With great power comes great responsibility. But yeah, it's such, what makes it such a good experience too is that you learn something. Like I've learned from making documentation pull requests. You know, I know how to do this, so I submit a pull request, and then somebody says, "Oh, have you considered this other approach?" No, I didn't know about that. You know, and it's that back and forth, because you know, if the person on the team was just writing the documentation, I would have my one way of doing something.
Yeah.
But when you start contributing to the documentation, that's when your kind of experience opens up, your world opens up.
Yeah, exactly.
Not just nice, but excellent teachers, which
but being a creator as well made me learn a lot of code base of Umbraco too. And that was my main reason to join documentation creators, thanks to Seb. Actually, he was the one who pushed me to join. And and now whenever a contribution comes in, if there is a code example in it, sometimes I am the one, mostly I can say, like, even though it's not me merging it or checking it or reviewing the code, I always go and check if that is right, if that works, how it's supposed to work, how they say it is working, just for that I am learning as well. It's quite cool. Yes. Yeah.
Which also flags how much work goes into the reviewing. And it's the same in, you know, in many of the teams, you know, this looks like it works, that's great, but you always have to check.
Yes, definitely. You always have to check. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Bushra. So Ronald, in your short time as team steward, what are you most proud of? What's the greatest achievement?
Yeah, in the last 3 weeks, that is, I think the best one was having a community meeting on Wednesday, deciding one of the short-term goals was to make it easier to contribute to the hour code base. And then the next day, do the Umbra Collab, have some people from the community join as well as Lotte. And then, I think we did 2 basic but helpful contributions, and just the ease of setting that up, and how easy it then is to actually do the change and make it better for everyone. I think that's a good sign for the first weeks, that hopefully will make it on and be a good indicator for the future as well.
Yeah, really good indicator for the future. I love that it happened in public as well, which is, you know, very spirit of open source. Lovely. Well, since we're with you, Ronald, you can start. We've got about 6 or 7 minutes left, so everyone's got about 90 seconds now to tell us, what on earth do you want? What is it? So future, what do you want?
For the community, for the packages team, I think a big improvement will be to make publishing packages more automatic. So to have good examples of how to build your packages, good templates as well. I think V9 now ships with a package project template out of the box. And there are a lot of things we can add to the default template, which were community driven templates for V8. And then, yeah, give people good examples of how to build, publish, and maintain their packages. And for the end users, I think one of the great things in V9 for V8 was having the possibility to quickly install packages from the back office. And yeah, due to technical challenges in V9, that's not possible. Although installing is quite easy because it's just a NuGet install, but still I think we can make it even easier or friendlier to do basic installs from the back office. And I know for a fact that Bjarke is also working on finding ways to make that possible. And there are other colleagues as well. So I think that's
work together, don't they? We all
yeah
overlap. It's lovely that everybody does.
Yeah, so again, guess the balance and making sure the future will be easy, friendly for both authors and users of packages.
Thank you, Ronald. Nicely put. Bjarke, what is it you want?
Yeah, now we don't have a Unicore team, but I still think the purpose is there. So we want to engage with the community basically because we are not as good as you to use Umbraco as they are. We're building it full time. We're not using it full time. So they have so many good inputs and valuable.
Yeah, thank you, Bjarke. Bushra, new platform, or is there something else?
Well, I think it's safe for me to say new platform is looking really closely in the future now than ever. So, but I thought about it. What do I want in terms of like talking for team is probably for whoever comes to documentation will find their way around easily.
Yeah.
And smoothly, whatever they're looking for, either a tutorial or just an article in any version. It is a big wish.
It's a big wish. But it's, I think it changes the way people engage with the project if you can have that ease of access. And that's, the bottom line here, isn't it?
Yeah.
For so many of the teams, that ease of access. What do you need? What can we do for you?
Yes. Yeah. That should be basically it. Yeah.
Thanks, Bushra. We'll go to Seb and then we'll finish on Mike because we started with Mike. And so I like the symmetry, the circular nature. So Seb, what can we do for you? What do you want?
Well, Bjarke stole mine, so that's it. No, so what I've really been wanting, and we've been experimenting with this in the past on the collaborators Slack, and now hopefully on Discord. What I really want is groups of actual experts in certain areas. We don't know everything, and we don't remember. I am always referred to as the history of Umbraco. Why does this work like this, Sebastian? Because we weren't there 9 years ago when it was created. I'm trying to make that a bit more general and spit out that knowledge and see if other people can help us with that. There's a lot of pull requests where I'm like, I don't know if that's what we want to do, or I'm not sure how load balancing works again, so let's ask someone who's intimately familiar with setting that up and things like that. So yes, teams of groups of experts. I'm trying to figure out how we can gather those and make sure that we get some feedback from them.
The Discord could be a really good place for that to happen. Actually,
that's what
it
I'm
really does promote informal discussion. So it's
we have
basically
400 people on there now, so there should be some people with some knowledge there.
Oh, I'm sure there are. You just need to activate them. Like in the very last episode or last 2 episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, season 7. If you watch it, you'll get the plan for how we create the groups. And there'll be some people going, yeah, I know what she means, and others thinking,
I have 7 seasons of Buffy to watch over Christmas. Then. Okay,
lucky thing, lucky thing is all I can say. And on that note, Mike, what would you like? Tell me what you want, what you really, really want, and then we'll leave.
I'll tell you what I really, really want. I wanna really, really, really wanna get the next version of the V10 version. And to be honest, if we can with the V9 back office for that, get the AA level completely sorted if it's not already. And then look at the so the ATAG that I mentioned earlier. It stands for Authoring Tool Accessibility Guidelines, which are directed for precisely tools like Umbraco. And it'd be really great to sort of investigate into that and get Umbraco up to scratch with that. So you have when you have a government or multiple companies saying, right, we need a content management solution that will allow our blind employees or our disabled employees, for whatever disability they may have, they can have a job using Umbraco. That to me was one of the most powerful things. We take for granted as developers for how we can work with it, whether or not you are a fully able-bodied or non-able-bodied developer. The ultimate end purpose of any Umbraco site is the person editing the content. They're the real people that are using it. The developers use the Umbraco site for, I don't know, however long it takes to build it, and then it goes off into the ether. So they're the real people that it matters. And it would be great to get that to the next level.
Love that. That's a wonderful answer. And so on that note, we'll wrap up. There's only one question in the Q&A. It's more of a comment. Oh no, there's 2 questions. Season 6 is okay. End of season 7 is good, but season 3 is the best season, and we all know that. So that's been answered live. And then just a quick question: does that accessibility AA cover section 508, which is the American government market? Probably one we'll end up answering offline, unless you know off the top of your head, Mike.
So they are different. I think there are some areas that aren't quite the same. Would have to dig into more, but that's another area again to look into, bring in not just not just from a European perspective, but we're a global project. Cool. Well, it's been lovely to see you all. And so thanks for chatting. Apologies for the dog interruption. I've sedated him and now he's fine. But hopefully we'll all get together soon. And in the meantime, everyone take care of yourselves. And thank you ever so much for all the work you do.
Thank you, Emma.
Having us.
Thank you.
Cool.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Wow.